weekend in case the last one didn't work.
Yeah, beautiful.
Awesome.
Everything okay?
Everything
Yeah.
is great. I feel alive.
Life is
Everything.
good. Check your pulse.
There's action here. You know what happened?
What?
I found Facebook Marketplace.
Uh-oh.
I've not been on Facebook
This
in.
replaced Let Go.
Let Go's gone. It's out of
Let
business.
Go's gone. Exactly.
But it used to be that my wife was in charge of selling the stuff and nothing would go because no one would ever offer her what she thought everything was worth here. And I kept trying to explain, hey, this is an online garage sale. Like, people don't want $1,000 table. They want a $2 table, right? A $10 table. Anyways, I've been selling electronics out of here the last couple of days. It's been a frenzy. I love it. There's action.
How are you doing though? Socially distanced. Like, what are you doing?
Do you want to hear my process here?
I do. Is it like at the end of the driveway waiting for them and they got to leave the money in the mailbox?
It's on the chair. No, they have to pay by email transfer before.
Oh, no. Oh, no. Darryl.
What?
Email transfers?
Yeah.
Amateur hour.
Why? I don't want
there's
cash.
people who can fake email transfers too, right? Like, they have everything. They can do it all. These guys are good. They're waiting for unsuspecting people selling their, 5-year-old microphones
Well,
for $60, and they're just trying to figure out how to be able to get a little bit of money out of them.
Stay tuned next week.
Cash only, my friend. Cash only.
Cash only, eh? I'm actually pushing for the opposite, but that's interesting. Well, thanks.
I did a Facebook Marketplace deal with a guy for something. It was in my garage and it was sitting there, and I cleaned up the garage in the beginning of the pandemic, and we did the whole driveway thing. He like dropped the money in my mailbox, and like I put it on like the porch, on the end of the porch, and he came and grabbed it. Like, he actually said that to me. He says, "This is how it's going down."
Yeah.
I was like, "Okay." I'm like, "No problem. However you need to bring me." It was like $50 or something.
I tell people,
it was a projector.
If you want it and you want me to reserve it for you, you got to send me the transfer. Then I'll give you my address. Once I give you my address, once you get here, you give me the password, and I accept it right in front of you. Anyways, it's been working, and
That's a good one, actually. That feels pretty cool.
It's really good, and like, they can send it and cancel it, right? They don't have to give me the password, but at least I know
the password till
they're serious and they're gonna fucking show up, because half these people make offers and don't show up. Anyways, enough of that.
Maybe you know what you're doing.
I listen. I've had time to figure this out. But now everywhere I look in my house, all I see is dollar signs. Everything is up for grabs.
All right. Check it out.
Anyways.
Facebook Marketplace.
Yes, I'm very excited. But it's a good thing that I'm on a little bit of a high from that, because the journey I'd like to invite you on today is a little bit turbulent.
Oh, no.
And it scares me.
Oh, no.
I'm afraid of the news.
Oh boy, we got a lot of news out there this week. There's a lot of news actually this week. Like, there are a lot of articles this week.
There's a lot of articles.
Yeah.
There's a lot of really scary words in a lot of headlines.
Oh boy.
And we together will face this and see
I appreciate it.
If it's true.
I'm glad it's you that we get to face this together on.
Are you ready?
We're in good hands. Go ahead, Darryl.
So the first thing that probably is on everybody's minds right now, lockdown may be looming for Ontario, but what that looks like isn't clear.
Color zones, color coding.
Color coding is good. Color coding is
red zone. You figure red zone would be the worst.
No, the gray zone.
The gray zone just seems so,
I think,
inappropriately named.
No,
it should be black and white, not gray.
I think right now the whole province should be in the gray zone, okay? Because it feels pretty damn gray.
Yeah.
Toronto is definitely, if there's a red, orange, and yellow zone, kind of, like danger.
Mm-hmm. I get those warning colors. Yep. Makes sense.
Right. Or at least yellow, caution, should be right before red.
Sure.
And maybe
red means stop.
Green?
Gray means I'm not too sure. It could be either or,
Do what you think is best seems to be working around here.
Yeah.
But I am going
let's talk about that, though.
Yeah, I mean.
Let's talk about that. Let's say we go into a gray zone.
Yes.
Let's say the gray zone comes. How many people are going to react the same way they did in March?
No, it will not be the same as March. There's no way.
Not a chance.
Listen, do you
Not a
have
chance.
your here? We're gonna play a little game. Are you ready? Are
Yeah.
you prepared for phase 2 lockdown? Ready?
Yeah.
Do you have extra rice?
Coincidentally, yes.
Do you have extra pasta?
Probably still left over from the first lockdown.
Do
Yes.
you have extra toilet paper?
Probably not as much as I should. Because apparently you need to have at least 475 extra rolls on hand at any given time during a lockdown.
Can I
So
put you
no,
down? Can I put you
I
down
don't
for
have that much.
a maybe?
Paper towel, though, we seem to have a lot. My wife, I think, got a good deal on it not too long ago. So we've got 2 big bundles of it.
It seems you have read my mind because that was next on the list.
Yep.
Now, what about food? Do you have like chicken and fish in the freezer?
I feel like we're adequately supplied for food, and that I'd only have to go out once a week to the grocery store in order to top up some produce. So I think we're good.
Hand sanitizer.
Yeah, I did a really good job when that first came for work. So we're putting it at all our listings. So I've got boxes of hand sanitizer, gloves, and masks at home.
Those were the
Wholesale.
next 2 items on the list. So TK, okay, hold on.
Yeah.
Let me tabulate your score here.
Yep. I think I did okay.
According to this,
Yeah. That's a good number. Can't see it, but that's
no,
okay.
because
That's
there's
98 out of 100.
there's nothing there. But according to this, you are prepared for the next lockdown.
Beautiful. I feel good.
And I feel like you have been not the safest person in the world in the last few months, but you are still prepared for lockdown number 2. And I think you are probably indicative of most of the population. Now, if you looked around this bunker, you would see much pasta, much rice, lots of
Freezers full
flour.
of meat.
We have yeast this time.
Yeah.
We have freezers, plural, full of meat, fish, and poultry.
Yeah. I don't think the lockdown is going to be the same as it was before. I think the gray zone would be a bunch of people still going to work and arguing about whether or not they're essential, arguing about whether or not they need to go out, going and seeing people and keeping it hush hush, and it would be back to like, tattletale on your neighbor for, having people over at their house type of stuff. But it's hard for me to say that we're going to go there, but it's possible.
I mean, technically, you're not even supposed to see your parents if they don't live with you right now, right?
Yeah, it's possible.
Technically, unenforceably, but technically, we are supposed to do the right thing to not spread the virus. And
I haven't seen much change in the red zone.
I have not seen much change at all, ever, other than masks on some of the population. And there seems to be a lot of unhappy people. Anyways.
Okay. Well,
lockdown might be looming. Well, I think it will have an effect on real estate. But let's
talk about the real estate market then. So we were deemed essential.
Yes.
Lockdown related. We were deemed essential services, home inspectors, mortgage brokers, movers, lawyers, land registry office, financial institutions, all that kind of stuff. So the real estate industry will carry on. The world was supposed to end the last time it happened. It didn't end. So we had a huge hit during our lockdown, which is now called the gray zone. So the first gray zone, we had a huge hit to the real estate market because everyone stayed inside. That being said, there's still a lot.
There was a lot of fear then too. There was a lot of fear.
There are so many multiple offers still right now on the lower priced homes out there.
For sure.
Anything under $1 million, depending on the area, there is still a ton of buyers who are desperately looking for houses. Gray zone, schmay zone, they are going to be making those offers no matter what if a house comes on the market.
Okay, so hold on, Mr. Positivity, listen to me. Let me build up to the positive part, please.
Okay.
We're going to get there, I promise.
Okay.
But first we have to go through some pretty turbulent weather, okay?
Okay, all right, take me back down.
So our lockdown is looming, okay?
Okay.
Canadian banks still have over 254,000 mortgages on payment deferral. Now, this is actually not actually so bad compared to where we were. A lot of banks are actually reporting like no mortgages left in deferral. So I think this is a headline grabber, but it's out there. And people that aren't subscribed to this show, which, what a great time. You should subscribe to the show. Hit the like button, please, and hit that bell for notifications. But if you aren't subscribed to this channel, you would maybe read this article and think, oh my God, 254,000 mortgages on payment deferral. That's not good at all. That sounds really high. But I'm here to tell you, and I think TK can quantify this, that is way lower than before. And it seems that the Bank of Canada has inflated our way out of this mortgage deferral for now. Crisis. Cliff.
So you always have to look at which people are, who is still doing mortgage deferrals. So they offered the mortgage deferral up until, for 6 months, up until August 30th. And then they offered between September 1st and September 30th, a 3-month, 90-day mortgage deferral, right? So you got to look at sort of which ones are actually, like, who's actually getting their mortgage deferred. So a lot of people, the first wave of people, these weren't people that were necessarily in big financial trouble. They were more people who were just like, hey, the world could be coming to an end. I have no idea what's going on. Let me just make sure that I have my mortgage deferred, and might as well take 6 months because you never really know. So the bulk of those people who were deferring mortgages were really okay. And in fact, many of them never lost a dollar of income, and they were fine. They were doing renovations at their house with the money and all that kind of stuff too. The people who have taken the mortgage deferral now in September for 90 days, so depending on when they took it, it's going to last obviously the rest of the year, right? These people were potentially the people who were trying to weather the storm throughout, maybe thought this mortgage deferral program wasn't good for them, and that they thought, I'm going to do everything I can to avoid taking it, and now they've had to implement it. So they could be having a little bit more financial stress than the first wave of people. So definitely, it's still yet to be seen exactly what's going to happen. But all the numbers that I've read and all the anecdotal stories that I'm hearing from everybody else is that people are coming off of mortgage deferral and paying their mortgage payments again.
Yeah, it's definitely moving in the right direction.
Yeah.
Government's aggressive new immigration targets will be long-term boost for housing market. So now this is positive. This is great, right? But as our friend Mr. Watson stated the other day, immigration's not always good. And so to counteract that last headline, we have only 17% of Canadians want more immigrants in 2021.
Okay.
So I wonder, will immigration start to polarize Canada? Will it start to rip us apart at the seams? Because I'm all for it. Let's bust this baby open. Let's open the floodgates and let's get some construction projects going. Let's get some bridges built. Let's build some tunnels for some subways, man. Get people in here.
What I find is that is a pretty common stat. Like 20%, 1 in 5 people are like pro-immigration. I think a lot of people, they look at different things, whether it be cultural stuff or economic stuff, density issues, whatever it is. There's people who are, no matter what, are always going to be like, immigrants are not the answer. The government needs to create more jobs. The government just needs, and there's just certain things that can't be solved by that. So I don't think that 17% number wavers very much throughout the last 20, 50, 100 years. I think it's a pretty small number of people are pro-immigration as it is. And you hear that in like pop culture and media and stuff like that. There's a lot of people who are always concerned about, the newcomers. You even hear immigrants who've been here for 20 years talk about the newcomers.
Sure.
Like it's one of those things, right? It's just like you were afraid of losing what we have, and that's part of, I think, just being human and part of society.
Well, listen, I mean, the unemployment rate is like 11%. So out of the 17% of Canadians that don't want immigration to grow, they're probably the same people that are like, I need a job. Why are you bringing in more people to take my job, right?
Yeah. It's 8.9%, but still way higher than it was in January.
11 might be Toronto. I was reading something. Yeah. But anyways, so we have, this one's scary. Are you ready? Are you sitting?
Oh,
yeah,
no.
You're sitting.
Okay, I'm sitting. I'm good. I'm in a chair.
An earthquake is coming.
What is it, the
Insolvencies.
Weather Network?
Insolvency second wave looms as once strong businesses falter. It's going to be hard to I
For
mean,
sure.
listen,
Yeah.
it is a great time to secure a really good retail location if you have a business that works like that, right?
Mhm.
Maybe don't kick in the lease for 4 months or something. Don't start it for 4 months. But anyways, I mean, there's a lot of businesses going out of business. There's going to be a lot of retail space available. There's probably a ton of retail space available, although I don't really
Already.
I mean, I don't really follow that, so I don't see it, but I don't hear any articles about tons of retail space. I see
No, there is.
lots of
There
stuff
is.
about office, but anyways, I mean, there
Hmm.
must be, right?
Yeah.
It's gonna get crazier for sure. I mean, a lot of people that were hanging on by a thread now with the last wave of lockdowns and reopenings, and we're figuring out like, what the hell am I gonna do when it gets cold? And now all of a sudden they just shut it down again. They're like, okay, I'm out.
Yeah.
Fuck this. I don't know
Can I
why
can
people.
I
Yeah,
can I put a positive spin or no? Am I not allowed?
we're getting closer to positive. We're getting closer to shore. So like,
Okay.
yeah.
All right. Insolvencies are up. Insolvencies. Businesses are going to be going down for sure.
Thank you for your positive spin, sir.
No,
Awesome.
that's not it. I
Oh,
stayed with the negative.
I appreciate that.
Okay. I'm fitting the storyline.
I really appreciate that. It seems that negativity gets more views anyway, so we'll stick with it. Okay, ready? This
Yep.
is I want to take you back. I want to take you back to like a year and a half ago where I had a conversation with my father-in-law and he was talking about micro condos. This is the wave of the future. Not only that, like shared micro condos where you don't even have a
Bunk
kitchen.
beds.
You gotta you gotta go in the hallway to cook your food. This is the wave of the future. And I was like, okay. I don't know. I think 2 and 3 bedrooms even back then. But anyways, this was the conversation. Tiny micro condos are flooding Toronto's real estate markets. We've got earthquakes and floods and waves. This sounds so scary. But
Mm-hmm.
this is leading to Toronto rents plunge 17%. We like the number 17%, it seems, this week. Toronto rents plunge 17% in October and will likely go lower. They may likely go higher, but they'll likely go lower too. Now,
Yeah, the rental market's it's not rebounding anytime soon, unfortunately.
it does not look good. It does not look good. But she obviously has a crystal ball because she says it will likely go lower. Rents
Well,
in
look where that comes from is by looking at exactly how many leases are occurring versus how many active listings there are and how many new listings are coming out still, right? So it's easy to spot those trends, right? So when the market's getting tighter, we can assume that there's going to be pressure on prices and that prices will go up. When the market starts cooling down and we start seeing listings outpace leases, in this case, then we can say, well, yeah, I mean, eventually this is going to lead to prices going even lower.
Sure, and even though we are leasing spaces at a record pace, we still have way too many on the market, right?
Yeah.
But that's probably leading to the record leases, right? Because these prices just keep plummeting. So here we got another one. Rents in Toronto continue to plummet for the 10th month in a row. So we've got plummeting, we've got plunging, we've got earthquakes and floods and waves so far, and we're only halfway through. But oh, that's good news. Harland joined Telegram. Sorry about that. Okay, so again, rents, we know rents. This one is interesting, and you will probably have an opinion on this. This is going to be boots on the ground knowledge right here. You can tell us. Toronto real estate fatigue and COVID-19 anxiety are setting in realtors. I don't know. It says it's got the 2 dots. What's that called again?
Semicolon.
Thank you. No, colon. This is a
Colon.
full colon. So
Okay.
setting in, colon, realtors.
Okay.
But listen, apparently there's real estate fatigue and COVID-19 anxiety, and they are setting in.
Look, we as realtors are not known for ever really being happy with the situation that we have in front of us. When the market's slow and it takes longer to sell a listing, we complain that the market's not good enough. When the market picks up and it's easy to sell the listings, but our buyers are out making 5, 10 different offers before they finally secure a property, we're complaining about the market. So there's always fatigue. Getting into real estate is a tiring job. If you're looking for a job where you're always going to be comfortable, then go get a salary where you can work 40 hours a week and take your evenings and weekends off. But if you want a job that is always going to be demanding and stressful and riding a roller coaster for the rest of your career, then get into real estate. It's perfect for you.
The article's talking about how they have to be therapists now, the realtors. And I'm pretty sure, I mean, I'm not a realtor,
not
but
new.
like, yeah, people buying and selling real estate are crazy. And
It's an emotional process.
there's
I mean, that's what it is,
emotions
right?
all over the place. It's a crazy it's a crazy process. So
Well, right now, what that fatigue is on the condo side. People have their condos listed. They're priced well. They're staged. They've got costs for staging. They've got marketing costs. They've got time invested and everything else, and they're still not getting showings or offers or as much activity as necessary. And on the buying side, they're out there. There's no inventory. Their clients are eager. They've got their money. They're ready to go. They have the budget necessary to buy in the area, but nothing's coming up. And when something does, they're competing with 10 different people, and it's frustrating. And you're going to have a problem.
So, but now you guys are not supposed to be doing open houses again, right?
Ooh, let's talk about that. Great.
Do you want to talk about that now?
Yeah, open houses.
Open houses.
I won't share my opinion on open houses overall, but the main thing is not a good idea to be doing public open houses during a pandemic. I think that's across the board, right?
So hold on a sec. In a pandemic or in code red of a pandemic? Like, are we okay if we're in whatever's not code red prior to?
I think any type of pandemic situation, open houses for the public doesn't make sense. There's not an accurate way to track people and to keep people responsible. And yeah, again, I'm going to keep my opinions to myself, but the main thing is that the real estate agent's trying to meet people through the open house, right? So trying to meet the public in that form is probably not as effective. But let's talk about this, the new fad, online open houses.
Boom. Online open houses. I have joined.
Let's talk about an online open house.
Yes,
let's see what an online open house actually is. Darryl, you've been to one?
I have been to a few. I have been to online launches.
Please explain to our listeners what consists of an online open house.
An online open house is generally a whole bunch of crazy questions being asked to somebody over a Zoom call while they are running around the house trying to show everybody what it is they want to look at that moment.
Great.
It is extraordinarily poorly done. And I mean, there could be a good way of doing this.
So,
but we have not found it yet.
So there's an owner of that house, right? There's an owner of that house. Explain to me the benefits for the owner of doing an online open house. The seller.
The benefits to the seller? The only benefit that I can think of is that they won't have rampant COVID-19 running through their house potentially.
Okay, so
but I can see it working as a wonderful auction.
So they're gonna buy the house during a virtual public online open house?
Zero chance.
Zero chance.
Not, but you know what? If it was done in a way, then I could see people buying. But
so somebody's got an iPhone camera with no stabilizer walking around the house trying to show people the house that they're going to spend over $1 million on.
Yeah.
That's going to lead to a sale?
No, it's going to be like,
it makes no sense. Or, Darryl, can I just please just divulge a little bit of personal information about yourself. What was your level of seriousness for buying the houses that you were going to on these online open houses? Like, how serious were you, or was it just simply maybe something to do on the weekend?
So tell me, is there a scale here? Is it like 1 to 10? My
One
level
to
of
10
interest.
means 10, you were like looking for a house to buy. One was like you were not even even thinking about buying, and that you just had nothing better to do.
I would say definitely 1.
That's what I'm saying,
It
right?
was
So it's the
research.
same level of interest from a public open house in person, right? It's like any agent who's saying that these online open houses is the way to market your property is to me not fully understanding exactly how a person who would attend an online open house's mentality would be,
I think
right?
though
If
the
you are serious though, what would you do? If you were serious, you're ready to go, you're serious about buying that house, what would you do?
mask up, glove up, and go in.
And go and see the property.
Yeah.
And you'd probably be able to call the agent and get some questions answered because you'd look at the photos online, right? Then you'd say, okay, yeah, so they have the den can fit a bed, or the family room is open concept to okay, yeah, that's what I'm looking for. Let's set up a private showing where we can go and do it safely,
Yeah.
and then maybe I'll give you my $1 million.
Yeah, and you would not want to be my virtual realtor running around that house showing me the things I want you to look at.
Close the toilet seat. I want to see how slow it closes. Is that a soft close
I would
or what?
no, but I go and I like sit on the toilet and I look around for imperfections because I mean I'll do that when I
You'll be
live
looking
there,
at,
right?
yeah, you can't have those.
No, well, I mean they'll drive me crazy. So
Yeah.
but those are the kind of things that I would do if I was actually going to an
We
open
can
house.
get the realtor to sit on the toilet with the camera, just reverse
Right.
view, and then say, okay, now move your head around and
But
show me what you see.
there's something about that height and perspective that has to be that will draw my eye in, right? But
Uh,
I really think that at some point the right person will come up with a really good way of doing it, but it's going to involve a lot of technology and it will not be a realtor that comes up with it, I don't believe.
can we disclose that you are in the virtual reality presentation business? Can we disclose that? Because there might be there might be some interest that you have particularly in something like that. I'm not saying that that's not going to work, and all your ideas for
No, I'm
pre-con are
not
great,
doing that. Yeah, I don't want to get
but
into that shit.
as a public open house,
I think
what you're
somebody will come up with a great way of doing it that people will be okay with buying. Because listen, if you look at the real estate market as a whole, it has become more of a like a liquidy kind of traded asset. It's becoming more of a stock for a lot of people, right? So
for sure.
so as time goes on and technology gets better and somebody actually does hit it on the head with regards to these virtual open houses, or I think it becomes some kind of like a online auction for houses if you can present it in a really smart way of doing it. Because I think auctions, I mean, we basically have auctions already anyways. They're called
You can do an auction. It's just there's a lot of paperwork involved in order to be able to get everyone to disclose their bids, and it's not worth it.
when you hold back offers until next Monday and you have 1 million showings, that's an auction. Okay, that's all that's an
But it's
auction.
closed. It's closed, right? So you don't see what everyone else's bid is.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
to
yeah.
have an
Sure.
open,
Sure you don't. And the agent's not they're sitting there going, "Hey, like I think you need to come up to this." And no, I don't
I'm
have
not saying
another buyer.
that's never going to happen,
Yeah.
but in majority of situations, it's
Hey,
not.
I'll give you an extra quarter point if you kind of help me get this. That never happens.
Well, like I said, I'm not saying it never happens, but definitely it's not the majority. Let's talk about something else quick before we go back to the news. Technology in resale residential real estate. Does it have a place?
That's what we're talking about. It has a
Well,
huge it
let's focus on that.
it has a huge place, but it right now the
Give me some
ideas.
ideas.
No, they're my ideas.
Okay, so give me some
No,
ideas that
listen.
people have had that are not working.
I'm telling you as we're talking here, some form of combination of online viewing, right, where you
Okay.
can actually really get a sense. So we're probably, a few years away from this where you can actually strap on something that makes you feel like you're actually in the space and you can kind of like lead around it. But it's
Hmm.
going to have some virtual reality component, and then it'll probably have, I think, an auction component, and it'll be like a Amazon almost. I mean, Amazon's already selling kits of houses. They'll figure out a way to sell people houses and rate the sellers and the buyers, and it'll become a whole market where people like from England or India or wherever can buy a house before they move here and feel like they've been there. It has to happen.
Hmm.
It's inevitable. And you've got tools already out there where they send a guy with a 3D camera and the thing just sits in the middle of the room. It's got LiDAR sensors on it. It measures the room and takes 360-degree high resolution images in like 8 seconds of the whole place, right?
Yep.
So somebody's going to combine all of these things in a very well presented way, and it'll help people sell, but like we're years away from it. But I mean, it just has to happen. Forget about
So I agree.
pandemics.
I agree
Oh,
that the
thank
technology will
God.
get better.
Yeah.
The technology will get better.
Yeah.
That there is a place for it. That people are doing it right now, and that it does exist, and there are situations that this would apply to. But I think it's a very, very, very small share of the market.
I think it will be an ever increasing part of the market. And listen, if you take Amazon just as an example, Amazon as a percentage of retail sales on the planet is like minute. Amazon as a percentage of online sales, right, is gigantic, right? But there's
Hmm.
such a huge divide. So look, you can become the richest person in the world by figuring out a way to get a minute percentage of this going on.
Now, Amazon has a return policy.
Yes. So will we.
Are sellers going to have a return policy? So
Sure.
after you fly from wherever part of the world you're coming to and you get to this house and it's not what you expected, and there's something that you don't like because you sat on the toilet in the powder room and saw a lot of imperfections that don't make you comfortable, right? Is there going to be a return policy?
Listen, with Amazon, if you want to return something and you don't pick the right answer, you
Yep.
have to pay to return it, right?
Okay.
There's a restocking charge, there's a shipping fee. So I would imagine that if that was necessary, somebody would be smart enough to figure out a way where, it's going to cost you to do that. You better make sure that you're okay with it. And again,
So
it will be for a small segment of the market, people that are okay doing that and willing to take a risk on it. I mean, a lot of development sites, I would imagine, will start trading hands like this where it can go sight unseen and nobody gives a shit what's on the site, right? And
mhm,
and you can send in a drone to go take a look at the topography so you can
for
see,
sure.
it's gonna be a thing. And
Yeah.
it's gonna be gigantic because we're talking like a $3 trillion industry here.
I feel that in the residential resale uh, market space, there just isn't a lot of room for technology, unfortunately, because there's too much human involvement and there's just too many things that happen. I had, we'll go over the deal of the week later, but I had
The deal of
uh,
the week.
something fall through this week, right? Where the buyers, we went and bought a property. It was everything that they thought it was.
Is
They felt like it met all their needs. Like it was a great, great, great space, and it ended up working out that this was the best option for them after they'd been looking for a very long time, right? So we went to do the home inspection, and there was a few things that were of concern, but we were probably able to get past them. But the garage, when they looked inside the garage, and we had looked at it before, but not as carefully as we probably should have. So when we went into the garage, we realized that there was a few parts of the walls that were, you know, sticking into the garage that would not allow them to comfortably park both their cars in a double car garage. We figured out a way to do it, but it was like, you go in first, you go in backwards, and like it was all this stuff where we're just like, this is going to be a challenge, in the future, right? And they said, you know what? We want out of this deal.
sure.
That was it. We love the house. We'd been here twice before. Now we're doing the inspection, and halfway through the inspection, I think it was the first time this has ever happened to me. Halfway through the inspection, they said, "Tell the home inspector to stop. We've seen enough. We want to get out. We've already got our deposit back. We're moving on to greener pastures."
I think agents will have their own autonomous drones that will do whatever they want them to do, and
Okay.
robots that can go to the house and look at every nook and cranny and do all of these things. But anyways, there is definitely a way that this will happen in the future. Cars are driving themselves, warehouses are running themselves. Like, there's no way that somebody doesn't figure out a way that people are willing to do this. People are already buying stuff online.
Mm-hmm.
A small percentage, but like, it's happening. And
Okay.
I promise you, before the pandemic, my mom, who is not that old, she's like in her late 60s and she's pretty hip. She was like, I'm not using that Amazon. I'm not using that damn Amazon. I can barely use this phone thingy, right?
Yeah.
Well, guess who likes Amazon now, right? guess who's got her own little package like storage set up, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so if we can buy a shirt and return it with maybe a penalty or maybe not a penalty, there are people that are going to be willing to do it. But you have to make it so that the process works. So all of these issues that you're coming up with, it's like somebody is going to figure all that shit out in a way that's appeasing to a lot of people. Maybe
To a
not everybody.
very small market, I
Well,
believe.
and to the people that don't
I hope I'm
believe.
wrong. I hope I'm wrong.
No,
I hope
no.
that they can figure out a way to make this streamlined enough for people to have to do less work. But when you work in the industry and you see all the little intricacies
Sure.
that need to be put into place before someone decides to say, I'm going to sign up for a 25-year amortized mortgage on a 5-year term with my entire life savings as the down payment, and I'm going to be committed to paying this basically for the rest of my life, seeing where prices are going.
Yeah.
There's a lot of emotion in that, and the logic behind it all, it's not really there. It's like, you should just rent. Like, it doesn't seem like this makes any sense at all. You're going to be house poor for the rest of your life. Why would you ever want to do this with no prospect of you ever earning any more income? But people do it all the time, right? People do it all the time because the emotions of them owning a home and staying in the same place and living on that street and being near the park and going to that school and all that kind of stuff take over, and that's why they make those
Sure.
decisions.
Yeah, I mean, listen, especially from a realtor's perspective, it's like we talked about it before. It's like the bank teller saying, no, sorry, you can't deposit that here. You have to go use the ATM. Right? It's
Yep.
like, here, I will teach you how to make me obsolete. So
Yeah.
if I was a realtor, I would also be like, no, like, I bring a lot of value. You can't replace me.
Yes.
And that is in fact the case with some of you, not all of you. That is for damn sure. Not even most of you, to be quite honest. A lot of it is the technology that you guys hold a monopoly on, but there is definitely always going to be a need for really good realtors. And like every other industry, the shit will disappear, right? When something better comes along. But we're years away from this. I mean, but anyways, enough about that, I think, right?
Let's go back to the insolvencies, the business insolvencies, and you were going down that road with your mom and Amazon.
Okay. Well, I think that road was done, but
Well, let's just talk about it quickly. What businesses are going under right now?
where was my insolvencies? They're all
Let's go,
it's all
what's the
retail and restaurants. Big retail,
yeah,
big retail that
oversized restaurants?
expanded like crazy. Not even
Mhm.
oversized restaurants, just restaurants. Listen, if you're a small restaurant operating on a 5 to 7% margin and you lose 50%, like the numbers can't work. The numbers can't work, especially when your landlord is like, I don't give a fuck anymore. Like, enough's enough. It's almost a year. Like, get the fuck out.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
Let's look at that though. Like, when it comes to the businesses,
Like
like, there's plenty of businesses that
Hudson Bay.
unfortunately deserve to be there.
Hudson Bay went to court over rent because they didn't pay for, like, I don't know, 6 months rent, like, which is a crazy amount of money for a Hudson Bay. And
Yeah.
the courts made them pay half. So the landlord has to take a lump like that. Like, a lot of landlords aren't Oxford. They can't take half the rent for 8 months on, rent that's 200,000 a month or some crazy number for a Hudson
Yeah,
Bay, right?
probably.
Like,
Yeah.
so, but all these little people, how do they hang on when Hudson Bay can't even pay rent? Like, how do you hang on if you're in the path, right? Like, there's nobody in the path. How do you hang on when you're on King Street and the whole thing was foot traffic before? It
Hmm.
doesn't matter big or small, right? Like, unless you're Chick-fil-A, like downtown, I don't know how you're not having trouble. Unless you have like that system where you're just churning out food without people having to, be inside. We
But
waited outside.
let's just look at maybe this is something that needs to happen.
Listen, all this
There's,
stuff is
there's
inevitable.
exactly. So
It's pushing it forward.
older baby boomers need to start learning how to use technology in Amazon. Businesses need to be able to survive. The whole Uber Eats and all these delivery services have been around now for a couple years, and there's a reason that they're there. Is because there's a demand. And when I go on Uber Eats or whatever it is, uh,
Skip the dishes.
yeah, skip the dishes. Like the selection isn't that great. Like it's gotten better, but there's limited options, which means that not every restaurant is coordinating and making sure that they're compatible with that type of service,
Which is
and they should be.
there's a huge opportunity there, which I was thinking
Yeah,
about the other day, where people should be out there like posting stuff for other people. The problem is the margins are so thin already, and they're losing 20 to 30% from the app. You can't pay
then their
somebody else
and
to do something, right?
their bricks and mortar location is too big for their needs.
We've been talking since like March. It's all about the ghost kitchens. What's his name?
Yeah.
Big, big investor now. Uber. Was it Uber? I don't know. One of the
So
gigantic companies. What's his name? Jelinek. Anyways, he's starting a gigantic fund to just start a million ghost kitchens all over the place. Because
and
that's,
then you can have communal dine-in spaces. So you have it's like a food court.
yeah, I wouldn't want to go to that. But
Well, I'm saying if you want to dine in, you can have multiple places that are offering, the type of dining experience that you want, but everybody's sharing one common dining space. So if you've got 10 customers, then you're going to have 10 tables all through reservations, all through COVID negative test results. Like you can have all these different things that can help people grow. But the
yeah.
main thing is what you're actually using on a day-to-day basis is much smaller than it's been because there's restaurants that are just massive. Like you look at Jack Astor's and you look at all these places, or they're only busy for like UFC or something like that, like a big event. Like that's a lot of wasted space.
I know, but the landlord likes to get paid by the square foot, right? And the
Exactly.
tenant is used to paying by the square foot. And now, in order to survive, the tenant is being asked to pay for the same square footage, but decrease your revenue at the moment by like 90%. Forget about 50%, right?
Exactly.
So even in the future, how long is it going to be before we're okay sitting close to somebody else who might cough on us,
It's gonna be a while.
right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think it's that whole experience just has to get completely reshuffled, right? Or
Exactly.
you got to go find like a warehouse. Maybe they have to release or reduce some of the restrictions so that you can
Mhm.
go open up in like the back of a warehouse somewhere and open up like a cool posh kind of restaurant that has enough space for social distancing and making people comfortable, but you can afford the rent. Because I'm sure,
Well,
although the problem with that is that all the warehouses are being eaten up by logistics companies at crazy paces and
I
for
like
super high rents.
I like the word you used though, overhaul.
It needs a complete, everything needs an
Our
overhaul
system
now.
needs a whole overhauling, and
E-
that's what it is.
Everything does. Like the whole
Yeah.
planet does right now.
Our real estate industry does, the businesses do, food service industries do.
Everything.
Everybody needs to change what they were doing before because we were on a path that was eventually going to lead to this. Like it's so obvious to see. Like it's like so clear that we were going to stop, doing things like we did in the 70s and 80s eventually, and that there was all this new technology from the revolution that we've had over the last 20 years since um, the internet come in, right, since the 2000s.
The economy is like an old family business. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And you got like the old guys at the top sitting there going, this is the way we do it. This is how we like to do it. It's been working. We're not going to fix it. We're not going to change nothing. It works. And they're all fat cats, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So somebody has to kill them or they have to die in order for the new
Disruptors.
generation to come
Mm-hmm.
in and say, hold on a sec. Like, because it doesn't take a genius right now to see the path that we're going on is not the best for humankind, but we keep going down it. We keep
Mm-hmm.
going down it with everything. And it's so obvious right now that there's so many better ways of doing things. And like daily, people are coming up with better ways of doing even those things. So we're in a serious revolution that's going to disrupt everything. And we got to be ready for this. Like, is this the last pandemic? Once this is done, are we going to have to prepare to be in lockdown again in the next few years? Because some cat mated with a snake in Australia.
Mm. Imagine if the dogs got sick.
The kangaroos. Like, what if some kangaroo pouch got infected and all hell broke loose?
Sorry to take you down that road. I was
No, it's okay.
inspired.
I mean, you got to.
What else you got on the docket today?
If you have a kangaroo, remember to clean their pouches thoroughly. Unemployment improves in Canada's largest real estate markets, but is still very high.
Mm.
This is where I think I got that 11. Yeah, Toronto is 11.5% unemployment, which is high compared to Halifax, which is only 7.7%. Isn't that interesting?
And Toronto's is
11.5. Up.
we're adding the least amount of jobs right now, like percentage wise. We're getting the most amount. Like all the other provinces, or Ontario, all the other provinces are improving at a higher rate than we are. I think it's just us in Alberta that are trailing everybody.
As some parachute out of downtown condo market, a big bounce back is predicted. So what you're talking about, I mean, yeah, of course we're not adding jobs here. Everybody's running, right? You read articles every day. This Toronto family, can work remote, so they bought a mansion in Hamilton,
Mm-hmm.
which is just stupid. Why wouldn't you just buy a normal size house in Hamilton and save a few bucks? But anyways, of course there's going to be more, like, the jobs are generally a lot of the jobs are in the outskirts, and now you don't have to work downtown. So why in the world wouldn't like this be the case right now? But I mean, eventually that's going to go back to where it was. It has to. It's just, how long is this going to be with another lockdown, man? This is fucked up. This is crazy. If they would have all just listened to me at the beginning and locked down, just close up everything for 2 months, God damn it. At the beginning, if they would have, honestly, I'm sure if I go back in the tape, I would have said it, but if they would have just locked down everything, stop rent, stop mortgages, stop car payments, give everybody enough food, everybody place an order for the next 3 weeks. We'll get it to you in the next 2 weeks. We're all going on lockdown. Okay. Don't come out of your house. We will shoot. Okay. If the whole world did that for 2 months, this is over. And governments would have spent way less money, and way less people would have had to die, and everything would be amazeballs. I think there needs to be something an emergency mechanism that when a pandemic hits, Darryl is in charge of the world.
I would second that vote. No problem.
All right.
Absolutely.
If you third or fourth or fifth that vote, please hit the like button.
Hit the like button.
Or subscribe.
Comment and subscribe.
If you think I was a sociopathic moron before, how about after that tirade? Okay. What else do I have here? Real estate continues to contribute to employment growth in Canada. So what this article was talking about was that even though we're only up by, I think, 83,000 jobs in this last report, real estate's keeping it up because everything else is getting friggin' hammered right now.
Yeah, exactly.
Except for manufacturing in Ontario seems to be okay. Now, I wanted to bring this up before we kind of wrap things up, unless you want to discuss that at all. I don't really think there's much to
No, that
talk
was
about.
the main point to it. Yeah.
That's basically the
Real
thesis
estate's
here.
holding it down, but we're still not happy with the job growth because the other sectors are still affected.
That's right.
Yeah.
You nailed it right on the head,
I
TK,
summarized
as
it there.
usual.
I summarized it.
Now, okay, I have this that I just want to bring up because I think it's interesting, and I have not seen this so far.
Uh-huh.
Postponed launch, Brightwater Towns. Hi, Darryl.
Okay.
We've just been notified that Brightwater Towns will be delaying their launch until after the new year. We apologize for any inconvenience and will follow up with you soon.
Where is that?
This is, I believe, I want to say Whitby, but I could be completely wrong. Brightwater, Mississauga, sorry. Mississauga, Whitby, like they're pretty close, right? Anyways, here, we're going to do another quiz, okay?
Okay.
If you're a developer and you launch and it goes well, do you postpone the launch to the new year?
But if you launched it and it goes well, then how can you postpone? I don't get that.
Exactly. I don't get it either, but I'm pretty sure that this was announcing all their launches.
Yep.
I'm guessing they got a horrible response and they decided to delay it. Or, I mean, what else could it be? Or they just know they're going to get a horrible response.
Well, and they're saying in January it's going to go even better.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't think of that because I was trying to be reasonable and use logic, but that is possible.
Right? They could say, man, we're going to sell out. We might as well do it in January because we could probably increase prices. I think we undervalued what we're offering. Because everyone's lining up and emailing us saying they'll take it.
My sources are telling me that condo sales are really slow right now. Really slow. And new stuff is really slow right now. A lot of
assignments out there. Holy smokes.
I'll bet.
So many. Yeah.
Assignments, subleases, one bedrooms and bachelors, I'm sure, are just rampant.
I was talking to a guy who's assigning something from January. Like they paid like a crazy price per square foot, and then like they're assigning it, and there was like a huge profit on it, and I was just like, get out of here.
He's like, the buyer was like that buddy of ours that we know that talks about when he just went and bought 2 condos, even though he knew he didn't have the money, just got wrapped up in the frenzy, right?
Exactly.
People are like that. It's like all of a sudden, you know, it's like, oh, in the bank account, there's some money. I could actually do this. And then you do it. And then you go, oh, man, I probably need that money in the bank account. This is not the best idea I've ever had. Can I get out of this? And the good news is you can get out of it. You just may lose a lot of money.
Yeah. But I've been looking at other assignments that people bought in 2017, downtown core. And, you know, it seems like you can get a pretty decent price per square foot. You can get like decent locations, stuff like that too, but not the greatest. Not the greatest. All the good ones I think are being held on to.
Well,
I'm closing in the next year.
I'll tell you, when I go through all this, I don't see short-term positive horizons.
For?
Well, I think for growth or for real estate in general. I mean, what do we really think? Okay, so let's touch on this for a sec. Vaccine, it's ready. It's almost ready. It's like doing great in clinical trials so far, right? Are you going to take the vaccine like right at the beginning?
I'm just going to buy stock in Pfizer and see where it goes.
It's funny. One of the guys who picked up Apple TV from me, his password for the money transfer was Pfizer. I was like, oh, that's weird. I wonder if he works for Pfizer or if he just bought stock in Pfizer. No, but seriously,
are you like him giving you a stock tip?
Next Monday, there's a dose for TK.
Do you get a flu shot?
No. What are you, crazy?
So then, well, I'm just saying, like getting the vaccine for COVID. There's stuff, but then what I was reading was Ticketmaster has a plan to have events where people have to have a vaccine or a negative test within 12, 24, 48 hours, whatever it is, to get into some of their larger events. This is just brainstorming to come up with ideas on how to get large scale events back.
Is Ticketmaster still a thing?
But you know what I mean, right? Like that's for
I read it.
So,
yeah.
So if they said your child can only come to school if they have a COVID vaccine, that's a different story.
So you would give your kids the vaccine next week so they could go to school?
I'm not going to say that I wouldn't, but
Why not?
that's something that the government could end up imposing on people and saying, look, you can do online school. We're giving you an option.
Yeah.
But in order for kids to go back to school, in order for daycares to be operational, in order for people to go to large scale events, in order for you to work at this company, this is what you need to do, right? Like there's, or they could say, or provide us a negative COVID test.
That's what the
every
article
3
said.
days.
That's what the article
Yeah.
said, was either a test or a vaccine, right?
Yeah.
So
you're going to get tested every 3 days, or eventually you're going to say like, man, just okay, give me the vaccine.
what do I
Gee.
care? I don't need it. Where am I going?
Well, I'm just saying, like I'm just general public, our listeners.
Oh yeah,
right?
people are fucked. They're gonna have to take this. But I'm of the camp that I will watch all of you grow extra limbs and die while I sit here in my house waiting for a couple of years to see what happens to the people that take the vaccine.
I feel like Pfizer's a very reputable company, and I think that's why this is making headline news.
Pfizer is a reputable company.
You know, I'm not big into the pharmaceutical businesses, but it seems like that's most
of the pharmaceutical companies are, very above board, and they're very they want what's best for humanity.
I hope so.
I think it starts like that at some point.
Okay. The founder, right? Like that's what they do.
Well, the guy who's trying to figure out how to.
Where's Mr. Pfizer?
Yeah, Mr. Pfizer's long gone.
He was a good guy.
Voted off the board. He wanted to help people. We want to make profits, Mr. Pfizer.
So, okay, but either way, a vaccine could be coming. There could be a lot of stuff that gets changed. Either way,
how does it affect the real estate market?
We're going to have a lot of procedures in place for at least another 12 months.
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll see. Till those numbers come back. Like the numbers have to go down to 0 and stay at 0 for for a certain group. You're probably one of them. For a certain group of the population that's willing to go back to normal life. Like you need to hear that 0 number like 21 days in a row.
No, we were starting.
No new cases.
We were starting to get more comfortable and more loose, and then it went off of a goddamn cliff.
We were down to like sub 100 cases, right? Like
and we were starting to like meet friends and like be a little bit more normal. But now it's like, holy cow! And this is like tip of the iceberg stuff. The numbers around the world are insane right now. Insane.
Everybody's going through the same thing.
United States, 185,000 cases in one day.
That's insane.
Insane. Here, hold on a second. Like the graphs that I look at are just scary. What is this? 576,000 total cases in the world yesterday. That's a lot of cases. Now everybody says, fuck the cases. How about the deaths? And if I could get in here, it's like 10,000 people died in the world yesterday from this. I think we've passed it's a normal flu levels, no? Is it a normal flu still?
Well, I don't know the numbers on how many people die of the flu in flu season.
TK, you're the stats guy.
I don't know. I'm not looking into this stuff anymore. I did this in March and April, and it got boring really quickly. And then Elon Musk says that he had 4 tests the other day, and 2 are positive and 2 are negative. So I'm like, I don't know who to believe.
Right? Everything is crazy. Everything is.
I don't want to go down any conspiracy holes here, but the main thing is this. People are going to buy houses no matter what. So gray zone, red zone, yellow zone, vaccine, no vaccine. There's going to be a ton of people looking to buy. It's a great time to sell a freehold. If you've been planning on selling a freehold because you got a property that you need to get the money out of to move on, like now's the time. There's no inventory. If you got a condo and you can hold on to it for a little bit longer and try to get past this whole pandemic, fantastic. If you're looking to buy a condo and you want to move in, or you need a condo downtown, it's a great opportunity. rents are not that great right now. So buying condos as an investment, I'd say try to get into a building that's built after November 15th, 2018. So you'll have no rent control. So you can take a hit right now and bump up the rent once the market does come back. But other than that, you got to be
Is
careful.
it?
Make
Is it
doing
the
your
right
research.
time? Is it the right time
For
to
what?
buy something right now? Is it not going to be better in December to buy something or January?
Uh, like a condo or a freehold?
Anything. Isn't freeholds not slowing down at all now? It's just going to keep chugging along like crazy.
Well, it's not just about are freeholds going to slow down, or are there other, like, is their sales going to go down? Yeah, sales are going to slow down in the winter, but the number of listings is also going to be slowing down,
Mm.
right?
Why is
So
this? Why is
it's going to be
this?
competitive
Why is
because that's seasonal again, right? I mean, there's less people, especially if we're going into another pandemic. All those people who are saying, "Hey, let's just see if we can get our house sold." You never know. Maybe someone's willing to pay my price. Those people aren't putting their houses on the market,
But all the
right?
people that don't go away in the winter are sitting around going like, maybe we
I need a
should
place to
sell this
live.
thing. Yeah, but
Oh, they're saying I need a place to live, and
let's.
if I sell this, where am I going to go?
I wouldn't sell anything right now if I could hold on to it because it's going to
Okay.
be worth more in a year or two for sure, and it's going to go crazy in here in the next few years. But we got to get there. We have to
Mhm.
hang in there.
Okay.
So,
Well, thanks for hanging with me today, Daryl.
yeah, thank you, TK. Always a pleasure. I want.
And we'll stay on top of things this week. So then next week we're gonna have all sorts of new information. I think we're going into the exciting times of 2020. You thought
Yes. The
March and April were exciting. We're in the real exciting times now.
Now we will have even more confusing things to talk about and try and sort out. And I feel like we are right back at the starting of the circle that we started. So it's a perfect
Beautiful.
place to end it. It's like everything.
Good.
Everything. The circle of life is complete for today.
Awesome. Well, thanks for talking to me.
I will talk to you soon.